This is day 615 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like sponsor upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Be very greatly appreciated. Looking for Arukh HaShulchan. Today, this is the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is Siman Shin Samach Beis, Sif Lamed Vav, till Shin Samach Gimel, Sif Vav. Lamed Vav. Reis L'Chamin HaGdolim Shkasav. Going right, the Kohen Matzim Shitzis Pesach, that the side post that says Pesach has been no more than 3 tefachim distant from the walls. In other words, after the walls end, so it's Pesach has been within 3 tefachim. That's a tefillah shore. Those who wrote that that's only on one side has to be the way. The other side can be more distant from the wall. That's a Shari Tshuva name based of Chaim. This is astonishing. So it's Pesach is like a wall. That's why it's like the Teta of Avraham Avinu. You have 4 sides to Pesach. What difference does it make if one wall is far from the other wall? Avei Kapir Tzad is almost mutter. Or Shulchan holds that you might source a Pesach. You could say that a Pir Tzad 10 tefachim, 10 amos, up to 10 amos is allowed. Now the Mishnah Bura says b'shas at chak, maybe you can make it like that, but the Chaye Adam is machmir if it's 4 tefachim away from the wall, not 3 tefachim. But the Mishnah Bura himself says that the chatchila should be machmir, that it should not be more than 3 tefachim away. So we have here big machlekes, of course, between those who say that it has to be within 3 tefachim of the wall, those who say at least on one side, and the Rosh says Oimim Beruba applies to Surah Pesach just the same as it applies to, or in the Kippur it applies just the same to Surah Pesach as it does to an actual wall. Volra Abura says the Rosh Rabbeinu Yonasan Kasav is a clear evidence for Rabbeinu Yonasan. Amad Yichik Alechim Yakoisel Shlosh Tvachim possible, and that which it says that this is Lechi is 3 Tvachim away from the wall. It's possible because the airspace on each side of the lechi cancels it since there's no lavut. So the airspace on the side towards the wall and the airspace side away from the wall cancel the lechi. And the Magen Avraham is down. So it's a special shaykh. He says so it's not relevant because that lechi of Tzuras Pesach can't say every dagis abatalei because it's Tzuras Pesach takes it out of that ballpark. The Mishnah Bura said no. Never mind. What's up to the wall? In other words, you think Tzuras Pesach is a Pesach on the wall? No, it doesn't work like that. Allah Tzuras Pesach is independent from being part of a wall. I feel because even in the middle of a valley, no house around, Tzuras Pesach kosher, at least midoraisa, or up to the base of sign. Also, if you think that the Tzuras Pesach is like a lechi, which is just a post, which can't be more than 3 tefachim away from the wall, Meir Dashas, why is it that the Gemara in Eruvin Yudal Lashmina Belechi tells us 3 tefachim by a lechi? There should be Tzuras Pesach, so it tells us an even bigger chiddush, which is by Tzuras Pesach that it shouldn't be more than 3 tefachim away from the wall. Now, Tzuras Pesach, Kosh came Belechi. Now that the door of the side post to Pesach has started within 3 tons of the ground, that only applies also by Tzuras Pesach. Even by Mechitza Gemura, if it starts more than 3 tons from the ground, an absolute wall, it's possible. But because it's a wall to which the old kids can get through. So, Hershel Schechter has a chumrah which I speak about in the contemporary Arab and disagree with because I don't think what he's saying Pshat and Chazon Ish is the Pshat and Chazon Ish, but he wants to say the Chazon Ish has a chumrah that by Tzuras Pesach the side post has to go all the way down to the ground. I don't think that that's actually the case, and Shulchan clearly does not hold that to go all the way down to the ground. Avol lo b'chitza vessel. Avol lo b'chitza vessel min hakoisel. But this doesn't apply to side with this is the source special from the wall. So in that case, it's like distancing one wall from another wall. That is Asura have a pestle up to 10 amos into an opening, not a breach. Lechi is also mechitza, and nevertheless, lechi has to be within 3 tefachim of the wall. The lechi is in front of a mavli or a chotzer. But it's a lesser wall. It's not lachlam mishinai. It's a drabanan. And I'm not sure why it doesn't say that explicitly. But in any event, that's why it's possible lechi, which is more, it doesn't make a wall when the opening is more than 10 amos, or where the mavli is mefulish, it doesn't have a third wall. You can't have two l'chaim, one on each side. And with a need two l'chaim. Mashayin tzor sapesa, it's supposed to sapesa, the mechitza gmura l'choldin et teire. Tzor sapesa is an absolute wall for all halachas of Torah, ben l'Shabbos, ben l'kilayim. Whether in terms of Shabbos or in terms of kilayim, it's a wall. Therefore, Shulchan rejects the tefillah shor. It brings the brackets here. Rabbi Shevir tefillah shor mitaysis yirav yiramas ifcha shikshar beinu tam rabbeinu tam. Tefillah shor wants to bring evidence from this taysis shikshar beinu tam. You go ask lama go v'tzuras haPesach b'kana echad kasher mishum lechi. Why do we need by guess where we have a mound? It's a Pesach. One kana should be good enough as a lechi. Let's say that what do you mean, Rabbeinu Tam? So it's better because you can distance 3 tvachim from a wall. So it must be it's not better. It has to be within 3 tvachim. Shulchan says, I'm astounded. A little bemis, but that's what they say. Even say. They say answers that in a similar fashion. Welcome to Lamani Lechi. You need to respect or Lechi doesn't work. Mama Fullash, such as where it's an open street. Chuli Ayin Sham. Maya Mahai Rutsa Mahai Rutsa. There's no difference. Also could be because of 3 tvachim. Lechi has 18 tvachim, so it's best or not. Gamatesha Shabbasim Shin Samagim Basaf Sif Kod Yod. Tachazel rejection to a shore Ayin Sham. Lamazai Kosam Rechai Perkal. The Tzuras Perkal. Yeah, the first paragraph we're in. So it's the Pesach Saki B'Kona Gaba. So it's Pesach, it's enough to have a stick on the top, Ubachli Yanita Baruch, as long as it's not, doesn't sway in the wind. And as long as it doesn't fly away in the wind. Vital. Look at she's not the Baruch. There's also a very important Arukh HaShulchan. I quote it in my Sefer. It doesn't say that it should not sway in the wind, which of course the Chaznish is Shita, that can't even sway. So always be directly between the two L'chayim. The say you have shar. Arukh HaShulchan says no, it's not possible. It came as you daku bagova since it's staying in high up. Certainly the wind caused it to sway a bit. But it's not like a wall which is completely always swaying, constantly in the wind, like the branches of a tree. It's not doing the gamre. They're constantly swaying. They don't meet a cloud. They don't stand still at all. But here the swing is little, and and it remains more or less stationary. Since it's tied on both ends reasonably tautly. So Arukh HaShulchan says it means it shouldn't fall altogether in the wind. Because Lashon Mordechai uses nital. Because then it's not well, even if there is no wind. You don't need to make the sides rods. You can make it with ropes. You can actually but that's only if they're obviously very strong. Such as when they are stuck to the walls with nails. Okay, if not, he's not going to they're going to definitely sway a lot in the wind. It won't be a wall. So therefore, one can use tape paint, caulking, as a lechi, but obviously it has to be attached to a wall. Can't stand on its own because then it would not be stable. Shin Samagimel, Dine Tikune Mavi, Velechi, Vikora, Tikune Chatzeros. Fixing a Mavi with a lechi or a koira and fixing yards. Is a long one. Kvarni's bar, but Simon Shim made him in a talk. Homokom Mukop from Shosh Machitzos. Be the rest any place which has three walls have a Shus Yachid. Is a Shus Yachid. That's a Rambam. Kohen Ram beyond Rishon explained the Arukh of his part to its side Rishus Rabbim, and the fourth side is open to Rishus Rabbim. I have a Karmelis Metorah, it's a Karmelis Daraisa. Minesh Rabbim Yichakim Sham, because many people press through there. Meno Rishus Yachid, and it's not Rishus Yachid. In Arukh of his parts, and it's not Rishus Rabbim. That fourth side, which is parts, is not towards Rishus Rabbim. Have Rishus Metorah, it's a Rishus Yachid Daraisa, even if there are only three walls. So Gam Das HaTurnir, okay, what seems to be the opinion of the tour. Brackets, Mashkas of Atasi, Kan Aleph. It was that Tovin, B'divi Ram, Mashpankre, the Shosh Mechitzas, Shosh, Rishus Yom Torah. Now you can understand why the Rambam sometimes calls three walls Rishus Yom Torah, and sometimes K'mabresh Perkuzain. Upankre Karmel sometimes calls it Karmelis. Agdol Miskashuba says, Agdol Medivoli, this Moshkas of Magamisha, Vesh Perkuzain, Begam Divi Ram Magamisha, the Kukim, but the Magamisha writes is difficult. For anyone who pushes, it depends to what side the opening is. Zavnu Veduk. The Bir Alocha brings that holds that there's no difference to what side the fourth open side faces, no matter what's the Carmelis. And he says that there's some people distinguish between whether it's Rishus Rabbim or Carmelis. But of course, Arukh HaShulchan holds that that's the Ikar shot in the Rambam. That's the Raisa. Chachamim also talked about Shosh Mechitza, but Chachamim said three walls is not enough. Unless you do make some sort of fix on the fourth side. Had it been Mavli on a street, normally called Mavli an alley, but it's really a street. It's enough to have a post or a beam. But if it's a chotzer, we're talking about a yard, and we'll have to find it later on. You require either a plank of 4 tvachim on one side, shnei pasim batakim, or two l'chayim, which don't have a shear, thin strips, b'shnei tzayim on both sides of the opening. As we should explain. The reason why they're more severe by chotzer than in mavoi, it's counterintuitive because the mavoi is more travel than a chotzer. Because anything which is made more for habitation and for private usage, we have to fence it in more. And in yards, several people eat there and have usage there. Both things to do private things there, as opposed to in a street. It's basically in the Rashba. Further, it seems to me to call eating, which is close to the houses. So gather yafe needs a better fence. She had done so it would be similar to a house. The chemical goes because since the ikar of Chachamim's gera is that you should not come to make a mistake and switch off Rishus Rabbim. So that which is completely close to the house, they don't make a good fix on it. They're going to see it as very different than the house. They'll also come then to say Rishus Rabbim, although I'm not sure I understand that logic. If he's a chotzer the house chotzer which is adjacent to house or gutter, Tov needs a good wall. She's down the so it should be more like the house, less like a public thoroughfare. The Movi which is off the chotzer, the pachos needs a lesser fencing. The Gamma says down the chotzer kavlo, and that's sufficient for it to be like the chotzer to which it's close again. The logic escapes me. All these it's only going to work if the open fourth side is less than 10 amos. If it's more than 10 amos, it doesn't work a lechi or a kora or 2 pasim or pasa arba. Ben b'movi ben b'chotzer, but the type of movi or chotzer chasu to pass until you make it to pass. Much kosam sof siman kodem, like we saw in the previous simon. They have a chotzer which is open in its totality. The entire four sides open. If it's less than 10 amos, it's permissible with a plank which is 4 tefachim wide. They put it on one side of the open area. Put it next to the wall, but less than 3 tefachim away from the wall. If it's more than 3 tefachim away from the wall, ain't no klum. It's worthless. And if you want to fix them both sides, then it's enough to use 2 strips, each of which is a mashu. Remember, talk about chotzer, not a movi. So put one next to this wall, less than 3 tefachim of the wall, and one in the opposite wall, less than 3 tefachim from the wall. It's also true the fourth wall, lonely for the law, is not completely busted open. So we have, in fact, 10 tefachim high by 4 tefachim wide, which is a significant wall on one side. Two mashus left on either on both sides. So then that you don't need a plank or pasim. That what's left from the wall in and of itself is the tikkun for the fourth side. Yes, some say that 2 mashus of the wall which remain emoilim, they're not sufficient unless they're tefach wide. The davka shows the shnei mashuim. It's only when you make lechatchila the 2 strips. Yesh heker ne'asi also there is a heker because you made them. But it's a remaining wall. Does not. It's not effective unless you have at least a tefach on each side. Mr. Buddha disagrees. He says no, even a mashu, it's good enough. Brackets, he says, in places. Rabbi says the pasuk they seems to need a tefach on each side. By tasif couldn't give because everybody listen. Berif and some Ramadar Chimosha have a mirash base. Master Pasilo Mashkin and Shamaduk. Arukh HaShulchan doesn't seem to take a strong stance here, but he does say the Rashi doesn't require a tefach on both sides. The two Shulchan write in Sif Aleph Dafilim aim appear to Arba Tvachim, even if the breach is not 4 Tvachim. Kevan Shuba Miluo, if it's the totality of the side, obviously it's very narrow. It has to have a tikkun there, actually Pachas Mishlosha to the until it's less than 3 ad kalashona. Even though by Mavi Pasuk to come in the Daf Garba, it's not Mavi unless it's 4 Tvachim wide at the very least. And Shulchan Aruch also brings down 2 opinions. Nevertheless, in a Chotzer, they're a Machmir. A Mavi is 4 Tvachim. Chotzer even less. Which is because the stringencies we have a Chotzer, which explains the base with which I had my difficulties. There's one who says the Kam Mayre shall Chotzer mi bifnim rochav harbei. The Chotzer inside is very broad. Because Chotzer just has to be narrow at its end. It's Magay Bram. But the entire yard is not 4 Tvachim wide. In fact, it's 1 or 3. Answer Kluma doesn't require anything at all. Udvachim Tmuim Mem Arukh HaShulchan rejects the Magay Avram. But the Biur Halacha says the words of Magay Avram are Nochal Ledina. So big machlek is here about a case which is extremely rare. He said, Arukh HaShulchan continues, the B'chotzer tzarich tikun b'chol inyan. The Chotzer requires a fix no matter what. That's a Rab as well. That's also Rambam's opinion by Movi. But the Rambam's opinion that's also the case by Movi. But two of Shulchan Shemachakim and Movi l'Chotzer. And two Shulchan we see distinguish between Movi and Chotzer. I'm not sure what he's saying with that. I guess he's saying that even though in Movi they don't agree with the Rambam, but in Chotzer they do. Besides, everything goes by the width of the edge of the mavui of the chotzer. Okay, again, this is an extremely rare case. They have a chotzer which is less than 4 tvachim in width. If it's more than 10 amos wide, or appears to be the same eser, or the breach is more than 10, I feel even if it's not the entire side. The only thing which works for sapesa, as he wrote previously. Hey, mavui. The mavui, which we're talking about again, normally it's translated as an alley, the street. L'shon mavo'ir, it's the language of Paskin Shoftim, the entrance to the city. V'chein karam mavo harachov, because the entrance to the street. So actually, a mavui, which we always translate in learning as alley, Arukh HaShulchan says is not true. A mavui is the opening of the street. It's the mavo. The mavo, like in a book, the mavo is the introduction, right? So this is the introduction to the street. I never saw a translation before. That's a good, interesting. They should swim it wasn't, by them wasn't like us. Where we go directly from our yards to the street. But in front of the yards, there was a passageway which led in there. Actually, now it's referring to the entire street as a mavo. Okay, which is fenced in the three sides. And several yards open into it. And that's where the entire city was. And went from the yards into the mavo. All the mavos were open to the main street. We increased Satya, which is called the Satya, which is normally Rishus Rabim, the main street. And they would go from the Chatzeros to the Mavos, and Mavos Chabagadol, and from the Mavos to the main street, Hamfuleshes, which goes to the city, the high street or the main street, via Sartia, and that's the Sartia, Hey. Since the Mavui is open in its entirety on the fourth side, also forbade carrying it in low, but unless they make a tikkun for a cognition. Because the eyes of the master are called echad. It's all the same. Since also the Mavi, many people go there. Yom Mali Mavi, Mali was just a rabbin. I'm saying, if I carry Mavi, why can't I also carry just a rabbin? That's how they require a fix at the head of the Mavi. What is that fix? Lechi Okora, a post or a beam. Mao Lechi, what's the post? Zo Keresh, it's a board, or kona, or a stick of us, or a tvachim, 10 tvachim high. The rachvav of your koshu, and its width and thickness has no shear. I feel pachas miketz, but even it's less than the breadth of a finger. If you have a pesach mavi, you put it at the opening of the mavui. By the wall. Anything you make it from, it's fine. I feel by chaim, even if you put an animal there. As long as you tie it with ropes, to the wall of the mavi by yasedos on pegs, which come out of the wall. So it shouldn't go from there. You also have to ensure that's small. It shouldn't crouch. This might go and come to be less than 10 tvachim high. A person is also kosher to be a lechi. If he stands there the entire day, Shabbos. Unlike where a wall made out of people, if the lechi is made of a person, you can know about it. It's not like a wall made out of people. Where they're not allowed to know they're a wall. That's because that requires a lot of people. And it's too public. Not by a lechi. You also have to tie the person there. If not, it's not going to stand there over Shabbos. So it wasn't lucky that the whole Shabbos, people carried in a prohibited place because he reverted from a lechi to Adam, so reverted Mafreya, evidently, to a non-lechi fixed mavui. The bracket says, "Can you really die? Perish to be Ramah." Subsequently, it's Pshan Ramah. Divrei Magen Avraham. Saying him Tzarich Ilon Gadol. Don't send Magen Avraham. Title Tzarich Gam Belechi. Bloidi also requires that the man should not be aware as being made a lechi. How are you going to tie him up if he doesn't know? Hamiyad is going to immediately sense what's something going on here. Chayin Shabbos. Taisa Shabbos. If Kanzayin Tzikol Taisa Shabbos also argues Ayin Sham Beduk. The Mishnah Berurah does not clarify whether the question of if you didn't tell him whether you still have to tie him up. Anyway, this doesn't clarify it, so not helpful.